December 31st. It is New Year's Eve, and today I just want to share with you 3 questions that you can ask yourself and then sit down and kind of think about, reflect on, and journal your answer to so that you can end 2020 on a positive note. And I know some of you are probably thinking like, what? Like we can do that. But we can. And here's the deal. It's really important that if you want 2021 to be any better than 2020, because I know for a lot of people, 2020 has been very challenging. If you want 2021 to be better, you need to wrap up and 2020 in a positive state and enter 2021 in a positive state so that you are setting yourself up to be successful, to be focused on the things that are gonna make the year better for you. Because here's the deal. Nothing good, nothing positive comes out of a place of negativity. It doesn't. If you want lasting change, results, a better life in general, you need to be operating and making changes from a state of positivity and gratitude. So with that in mind, I want to share with you 3 questions that you can ask yourself, or I'll ask them of you right now, and you can answer them to see and to kind of just put yourself in a place of positivity and gratitude so that you can enter the new year in a state of gratitude and positivity and be able to move forward into the new year and make the changes you want to make in your life and see the results you want to see in your life and see improvement in the areas that you can control. Okay, so here are the questions. Number 1, this is the first one, and these really should be done in order. But they don't have to be, but I do recommend that they be done in order. So the first question is, what is something that you are grateful for in 2020? And it doesn't have to be super complicated, guys. But I want you to think about what is something you can be truly, unconditionally grateful for. Excuse me. Something that you can say, I'm so grateful for this, with no conditions, with no anything like that. I'm so grateful that I managed to stay healthy this year. I'm so grateful that I have a job. I'm so grateful that the Lord provided for us despite crazy things happening and my husband losing his job. I'm so grateful for you decide what it is, but here's the deal. It needs to be genuine. Okay? So what is something that you are grateful for? The second question is, what did the circumstances and situations that you would not have chosen, but that you experienced, make possible for you? Let me break this down a little bit. So we all, in general, this happens in life in general, but I think 2020 more than any year in my experience really has brought a lot of situations that we wouldn't have chosen, right? Situations that we wouldn't have chosen, that we didn't want to have to deal with, but we did. We didn't have control over whether or not we had to experience that, right? We didn't, excuse me, we didn't necessarily have a say in if we are state locked down. We didn't have a say in a lot of the things that have happened this year. Plans getting canceled, trips getting canceled, etc. So all of these were unforeseen, unplanned, often unwanted circumstances and situations that we probably wouldn't have chosen, but we had to deal with them. What did that make possible? So instead of looking like, dang, I had to cancel my vacation or whatever, what did that make possible for you? What good came out of it? But really, I highlight this question because this question has been a life-changing one for me just in general when I approach a situation that is challenging and that I wouldn't have chosen, to instead of freaking out, to think, what does this make possible? So I want you to reflect back on this year. What did these circumstances, these situations make possible? Did they make more family time possible? Were you able to connect with your kids in a way that you'd never been able to before because you guys were just too busy? Were you able to finally start that business from home that you've always wanted to do, but you never seemed to prioritize it? Were you able to learn how to use technology that previously had baffled you, but you kind of had no choice, but you figured it out and you now have a new skill? Were you able to get some fresh vision? Or did it make possible that you were able to just rest? Whether you wanted to or not, you were kind of forced to rest. Or what? This is you. I'm giving you ideas to help give you something to start with, so you're not sitting there going like, I have no idea. Here's some ideas. But really, I want you to reflect, what did things make possible? And, if you need to just pick one situation. What did that one situation make possible? And journal that. And journal it from a state of, again, gratitude. And once you see, like, I really did not want to have to miss out on that vacation. It's really, really stinky that had to happen. But you know what? I still had that time off from work. I still had the vacation time. And so instead of spending it running around a theme park going crazy and being exhausted, I was actually able to spend it at home with my family. And we had some really good conversations. And our family grew deeper. Our relationships grew deeper. Or maybe, you know what? I definitely wouldn't have chosen to lose my job. I wouldn't have quit, right? I wouldn't have chosen to not be employed anymore. But what it made possible was I actually found a better job. A lot of stress was taken off of me. I was able to start a new business. I had time to spend, I was able to spend time with my family, whatever it is. But looking at it, again, that positive way, and be grateful for it. Okay, take that this circumstance made this thing possible, and spend some time to really be grateful for that. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, that this situation that seemed so crappy in the time actually made this result possible. Thank you that you turn even really hard things into good, right? Because that is the promise that God has. Like, God promises for his children that all things work out together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. So if you are a child of God, if you are a Christian, everything you go through can be used for good by the Lord if you let him. Here's the deal though. He wants to turn it for good, and he will turn it for good, but sometimes we miss the good thing he does for us because we're so focused on the package we want it to come in. We're so focused on the negative aspect of, man, that sucks. I don't get to go on my vacation. Man, that really stinks. I no longer have that source of income. Whatever. We're so focused on what we consider to be the crappy situation, which it very well can be, right? But we're so focused on that we miss, oh my gosh, look what God did. Look at the good he brought out of it. So this question, I'm spending a lot of time on this question because what this question helps us do is it opens our eyes to the good that God brought out of the really crappy situation. So that's question number 2. Question number 3. And this is kind of shifting gears from the gratitude, from the seeing the good. Hopefully you've worked through those questions and are now in a state of gratitude and eyes opened to the goodness of God and some positivity, okay, and an uplifted state of being positive. So the third question, and this should be the last question, meaning the order you do grateful and circumstances in doesn't really matter, but this one needs to be last. What is something you learned that you can carry with you into 2021, into the new year? So what is a lesson that you have learned? What is a skill that you have developed? What is a new belief that you formed that's positive, that you can carry with you into 2021, that starting the new year with that new skill, that new belief, that new knowledge will actually has the potential to make that new year a better year, because you are a grown person. You've grown more. You're, in that sense, a better person than you were at the beginning of 2020. What is something you learned? Have you learned the value of family time? Have you learned not to take certain things for granted that you maybe took for granted before? Are you more grateful? Are you more calm? Have you learned better skills in how to manage stress because you've had to learn how to manage a high amount of stress this year? Have you learned a new belief? Have you seen how God provides in the craziest of ways? Did you learn a new skill? Just even a new skill, right? You learned how to sew, or something I learned how to make sourdough bread from scratch. I totally jumped on that bandwagon of like quarantine sourdough starter. And I now know how to make sourdough bread, and it's not hard, and I can easily feed my family even something as simple as some soup and some sourdough bread. Like, I know that I have the skill that my family now is like never gonna go hungry as long as I have flour and water. So what skill have you learned that you can take into 2021? I really encourage you to try to look more in the heart, like belief, attitude, spiritual element, more than the physical, or to do both. Like, here's a skill and here's more of a lesson, a spiritual heart character lesson, because the character lessons are really the ones that are going to actually change our lives more than a physical skill, typically, in the long term. So I encourage you to look for that. But still, like, what is something you've learned that you can carry with you? And hopefully that will help give you an idea, like some vision for the new year. Oh, look, here's a new skill. I'm entering the new year with this new skill, with this experience that I've survived. And I'm so grateful for the things that God's done in my life this year. So I encourage you today, in the midst of the festivities of, everyone has different ways that they celebrate New Year's. So in the midst of whatever festivities you're doing, whether you're celebrating with your family, a group of friends, whatever, that you take some time to sit by yourself quietly. Maybe go lock yourself in a bedroom or a bathroom if you need to get away from the kids for 10 minutes. And spend some time really reflecting on these questions and thoughtfully answering them. Don't just flippantly answer them. I really want to encourage you to answer them from your heart. Really think about it. And really take the time to let yourself step into that gratitude. Because gratitude is a key component of living a life that's full of joy, peace, and life change and success. Having whatever that means to you, okay? Whatever success means to you, it's key to be living in a state of gratitude if you really want to enjoy lasting success in a way that brings you joy and happiness and peace, which is what we all want, right? We all want joy and happiness and peace. So gratitude is the key to that. So I just want to encourage you with that today. If this was helpful, if this was inspiring or helpful, in the comments, I shared a link to a free download workbook. It's a downloadable workbook where there's several more questions and prompts like this to help you reflect even deeper on what you've experienced in 2020, as well as some prompts, questions, and thoughts on helping you goal set and plan for the new year and create some vision for the new year. So I just want to share that with you. So that link is in the description of this video. So you can click that if you would like. You click it, it'll ask for your email. There'll be a drop down bar asking you what form you want to download. Select the New Year planning workbook, enter your email and it'll get sent straight to your inbox, and you can download that and print it, or download it on your computer and look at it while you're writing on paper if you don't have a printer. But that's just something I want to give to you in this new year, as we head into the new year, so that you are ready for what 2020 is going to bring. All right, friends, have a wonderful day and Happy New Year. Enjoy the evening with your friends and family or whoever you're celebrating with. And I will see you in the new year.